Page 150, Chapter 8, Marxist Criticism, Section Beginnings and Basics of Marxism, Para. Karl Marx, K-A-R-L-M-A-R-X, 1818 to 1883, a German philosopher, and Friedrich Engels, F-R-I-E-D-R-I-C-H, Engels, 1820 to 1895, a German sociologist, as he would now be called, were the joint founders of this school of thought. Marx was the son of a lawyer but spent most of his life in great poverty as a political exile from Germany, living in Britain. He was expelled after the 1848 year of revolutions. Engels had left Germany in 1842 to work in Manchester for his father's textile farm. They met after Marx had read an article by Engels in a journal to which they both contributed. They themselves called their economic theories communism, C-O-M-M-U-N-I-S-M, rather than Marxism, designating their belief in the state ownership of industry, transport, etc., rather than private ownership. Marx and Engels announced the advent of communism in their jointly written Communist Manifesto of 1848. Para. The aim of Marxism is to bring about a classless society based on the common ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange. Marxism is a materialist philosophy. That is, it tries to explain things without assuming the existence of a world or of forces beyond the natural world around us and the society we live in. It looks for concrete scientific logical explanations of the world of observable fact. Its opposite is idealist philosophy, which does believe in the existence of a spiritual world elsewhere and would offer, for instance, religious explanations of life and conduct. But whereas other philosophies merely seek to understand the world, Marxism, as Marx famously said, seeks to change it. Marxism sees progress, page 151, as coming about through the struggle for power between different social classes. This view of history as class struggle rather than as, for instance, a succession of dynasties or as a gradual progress towards the attainment of national identity and sovereignty regards it as motored, M-O-T-O-R-E-D, by the competition for economic, social, and political advantage. The exploitation of one social class by another is seen especially in modern industrial capitalism, particularly in its unrestricted 19th century form. The result of this exploitation is alienation, which is the state which comes about when the worker is de-skilled, D-E-S-K-I-L-L-E-D, and made to perform fragmented, repetitive tasks in a sequence of whose nature and purpose he or she has no overall grasp. By contrast, in the older pre-industrial or cottage industry system of manufacture, home and workplace were one. The worker completed the whole production process in all its variety and was in direct contact with those who might buy the product. These alienated workers have undergone the process of reification, R-E-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N, which is a term used in Marx's major work, Das Kapital, D-A-S-K-A-P-I-T-A-L, but not developed there. It concerns the way when capitalist goals and questions of profit and loss are paramount, workers are bereft of their full humanity and are thought of as hands, H-A-N-D-S, or the labor force, so that, for instance, the effects of industrial closures are calculated in purely economic terms. People, in a word, become things. Para. There were various influences on early Marxist thinking, in addition to that of the political experiences of its founders, including the work of the 18th century German philosopher Hegel, H-E-G-E-L, especially his idea of the dialectic, D-I-A-L-E-C-T-I-C, whereby opposing forces or ideas bring about new situations or ideas. Marxism also built upon the socialist thinking which was produced in France at the time of the French Revolution, and it inverted some of the ideas of early economic theory, especially the view that the pursuit of individual economic self-interest would bring economic and social benefits to the whole of society, the belief which was and is the underlying rationale of capitalism. Para. The simplest Marxist model of society sees it as constituted by a base, BASE, the material means of production, distribution and exchange, and a superstructure which is the cultural world of ideas, art, religion, law and so on. The essential Marxist view is that the latter things are not innocent but are determined or shaped by the nature of, page 152, the economic base. This belief about culture, known as economic determinism, is a central part of traditional Marxist thinking. Section Marxist Literary Criticism General. In fact, though Marx and Engels themselves did not put forward any comprehensive theory of literature, their views seem relaxed and undogmatic. Good art always has a degree of freedom from prevailing economic circumstances, even if these economic facts are its ultimate determinant. Thus, Engels, writing to the English novelist Margaret Harkness in April 1888, tells her that he is, quote, far from finding fault with you or for not having written a point-blank socialist novel, ... The more the opinions of the author remains hidden, the better the work of art, unquote, stop. As cultured and highly educated Germans, Marx and Engels had that reverence for great art and literature which was typical of their class, and there is an obvious desire in such pronouncements to emphasize the difference between art and propaganda. Para. All the same, Marxist literary criticism maintains that a writer's social class and its prevailing ideology, outlook, values, tacit assumptions, half-realized allegiances have a major bearing on what is written by a member of that class. So instead of seeing authors as primarily autonomous, inspired individuals whose genius and creative imagination enables them to bring forth original and timeless works of art, the Marxist sees them as constantly formed by their social context in ways which they themselves would usually not admit. This is true not just of the content of their work, but even of formal aspects of their writing, which might at first seem to have no possible political overtones. For instance, the prominent British Marxist critic Terry Eagleton, Eagleton, suggests that in language, quote, shared definitions and regularities of grammar both reflect and help to constitute, a well-ordered political state, unquote. William Shakespeare, 1986, page 1.